Didn't take the color. I'm just saying he went red for whatever reason. And yeah, so our predictions were right. It's going to be a Zerg versus Zerg. And spawning in the lower left corner of the map, he's the cool man. Is he the cool dude that will bring SCA back into this as the yellow Zerg?
And his opponent spawning in the upper right-hand corner, already up 2-0. Can he continue his path of carnage? It's the red Zerg. Complexity's rise.
And why didn't the colors save on starboard, Senex? Gosh darn it.
Because you touch yourself at night.
Rise is red, and that's not appropriate, sir. Let's redo the intros just to make that all nice and proper, because I don't know why
It's true.
colors didn't save. Alright, so... Guys, pretend this isn't 1 minute into the game. Spawning down here in the lower left corner of the map, it's the cool man. Can he be the cool dude that SCA needs to get back into this series? Spawning as the yellow Zerg.
And his opponent spawning in the upper right-hand corner, already 2 games up. Can he continue his path of carnage? It is the red Zerg. Complexity's rise.
And yeah, Zerg versus Zerg, as we were talking a little bit before the game started, guys, it can be incredibly scrappy. I mean, not even just the limitation of Zerglings and Banelings, Roaches versus Roaches, Mutas versus Mutas. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous the different ways this matchup can evolve. And this is why I think it's so much cooler than, say, PvZ. Because again, PvZ, it's got that one opening. 3 bases for the Zerg, early base for the Protoss. You rarely see deviations, if at all. Zerg, maybe you go Zerglings, maybe you get the early Baneling Nest, maybe you get gas before your opponent, go for some speed. Then you can just transition. Do you go Roach Infest or Roach Hydra? Mutalisks versus Mutalisks. I mean, there's just so many opportunities, and personally, that's why I like this matchup way better than PvZ.
Yeah, and there was actually a while ago there was an article written by, or actually an interview with TLO talking about ZVZ. I don't know if you got the chance to check that out, but I was really interested in some of the stuff that he had to say on it, where he talked about how this is actually a very stable matchup if you get comfortable with Zergling Baneling. And I realized that that's actually true, and that's part of the reason why I like so much the term scrappy, in that a lot of people say it's a very volatile matchup, and that's kind of true, but only in those initial engagements. Once you get out of that and you move into either the Mutalisk play or the Roach play, it can actually be a pretty kind of easily understood and stable matchup.
Yeah, more recently too, it feels like a lot of people are getting more comfortable kind of adapting this no rush 10-minute strategy where both players just kind of, okay, you know what, you didn't send Banelings at me, I won't send Banelings at you.
And yeah, and that's with good reason as well, just because a lot of the time they'll see the Banelings trying to get in, but with some good Queen focus fire and having like one spine crawler up, it just doesn't really work. People have learned how to handle it, and so you can even see in just the builds that are currently going on right now, just getting a little bit of gas. Both these guys only with the single gas guys are going. We'll need to see, do they pull out when they reach 100 in order
Ooh,
to
and
only get the Zergling speed, or...
Cool Man getting into the base does scout the gas for his opponent. Might actually be able to pick off a worker or two if microed correctly, as the Queen in the main is not quite out just yet. But, oh wow, will get a drone, and one drone, while not seeming like a big deal, that does make up for the larva he spent on those 2 Zerglings, so really evening it out. Small victories are still victories, guys.
Absolutely, particularly in the mirror matchup as well, where like literally like he just evened out the worker count with that. It was only by 1, but always a good thing to have happen. And
And he has scouting
losing,
information.
hmm losing 1 worker as well when you only have 20 workers on the field is 5% of your total economy. And so when you put it in those terms, all of a sudden it's not quite as small as it looks at first.
Yeah, so Cool Man and Rise kind of just taking this really safe approach to this game. Bailing nests going down. Are they both putting him at the front? No, so only Cool Man going for the front with this. Now here's the catch-22, or however you want to phrase that, guys. When you put the Bailing Nest in the back like this, it's safe. It's not going to get picked off anytime soon, and if it is, it's only going to be because there's Mutalisks on the field, something Banelings couldn't really help with. However, if you put it in the front like this, you can create this sort of wall off. Quite so often we see a Spine Crawler, double Evolution Chamber come down, and it really helps with defending when you can kind of sit behind a wall and get 4 or 5 extra shots off before those Banelings actually connect to your army.
Yeah, we also see a little bit of a difference in opinion with the gases as well, as there were only 2 gases mining, or sorry, 2 guys in gas mining for quite some time with the Cool Man, but he is getting his second and even third gases much faster than his opponent.
And I know there's no direct connection to this, but I read the Cool Man and I hear you say it, and I just think Cool Runnings. And I'm just waiting for like the bobsled to come down this ramp, front the creep, go to the other bays.
You know, some people they really can't believe, but the Zerg, they got a bobsled team.
Man, I feel bad because there's probably a lot of young viewers watching this don't get a reference at all. The old Fogey movies, but Cool Running's definitely one of those ones that I think will
Cool Runnings
last.
is timeless. If you haven't seen that, you're
Cool
bad. You should
Runnings
feel bad.
mod.
No, I'm just...
So
But seriously, go check that movie out. It's wicked good.
yeah, here's a nice sort of choke that Rise has started. So by not using his Baneling Nest, of course, it's a little bit safer. Ooh, Cool Man actually baiting out a Baneling hit on one Zergling. That's actually pretty huge. But this Spinecrawler is down. You can put a Queen or two here, and Rise isn't going to see any early aggression get past this anytime soon.
Yeah, both these guys. I mean, their
Layer
builds have
tech?
just been eerily similar. Their lair is within about 20 seconds of each other. They both are getting their Roach Warrens right now, and there's a +1 attack a little bit faster for Cool Man. But I mean, aside from that, there's just like almost no difference at all between what they're doing now. There's a
But Cool
difference
Man
as we
does
see
have
Rise
that. Cool
planting
Man's
down the
going.
spire.
Yeah, and Cool Man going for a third, but unfortunately Rise does see this, so the question is, will he punish him or will he just go for one of his own? It looks like he's just going to go for one of his own. But, Senex, this is the catch, this is the problem. So Rise is currently going for Mutalisk, guys. And for those who don't know, Mutalisk, great. They clean up the map. This Overlord, I mean, a lot of these Overlords will die for free. It takes away map vision. Cool. But Cool Man is going for Infestors, and Infestors beat out Mutalisks 9 times out of 10. Whether it's just infested Terrans or some beautiful fungals for Queens to shoot them, it doesn't matter. And this is a huge investment that will be lost.
Oh, did you see that? That is the cutest play I have seen
No.
in months. The Cool Man took his Overseer and plopped it over these two Banelings of Rise and dropped a Changeling. And
Did
it
it
didn't
pop
have
one?
time to change. Yes, it popped it because it didn't have time to change into a Zergling.
That is amazing. When we do the update... Oh, look at those Banelings in the middle of the map. Only one connecting and killing so many Zerglings of Rise. Holy moly. The Cool Man has the cool tactics, guys. There's no question about it. Look at this. Evening out that... Look at the supply lost. I mean... Or sorry, the resources lost. I mean, little pokes here and there are going to win him the game in the long run. And we have 9 Mutalisks on the way. Oh, gosh. Oh,
These
gosh.
Mutalisks, though, have got to do some serious damage, and I have to admit, I actually really don't like the 9 Mutalisks, because right now there's already Spore Crawlers on the way, and as you were saying, but the Infestors are basically the hard counter to Mutalisks. Just a couple of Fungals will completely destroy all of them. It won't even be close.
Yeah, and what's...
And
ooh,
so getting a
some
couple to clean out the
beautiful...
map's really good, but...
And some beautiful Baneling hits going out for Rise, cleaning up those Zerglings, but here come those Mutalisks. They will start cleaning things up, and of course, once Rise sees Cool Man's Infestors, he's going to have to go for some of his own, and he's going to be behind. Look at this, we got +2 on the way for ranged attacks and pathogen glands. Speed already completed for the Roaches, and Rise is just behind because he chose to go for Mutalisks. He has to make these work. He has to either contain Cool Man, or pick off some drones, or do something to make these Mutalisks worth the investment.
Yeah, because of that earlier Baneling hit, Cool Man had the opportunity to just drone up like crazy, and we can see
Ooh.
that lead being maintained, still 10 workers up.
And he's going to pick off a Queen for this. No, it gets away with 14 health. But right now, there's a little bit of scrappy aggression going on here. Loses the Infestor to those Zerglings, and that is critically huge.
That is a really nice pickup. Every Infestor at this point is so valuable when you're trying to deal with the Mutalisks, because if you can make them miss just a couple of fungal growths, they don't have that much energy yet. They haven't been on the field for like 2 minutes and had the chance to max out on their energy, and so really you can't afford to lose any of them at this stage of the game.
And again, Infestor or not, I mean, right now Coleman's going to have this large window of opportunity where he's going to be ahead for tech for the rest of the game. Until if he sits still for too long, Rise will catch up. And he has to be able to abuse that advantage.
Rise does need to make something happen, though. Right now, he's built a very large army. He's 30 army supply up, but is behind in the workers. And the longer that this third base gets to continue working for the Cool Man, the better it will be for him. But right now, we do see moving down along the right-hand side, all of these roaches trying to make something happen.
Yeah, a couple of Mutalisks splitting off from the main group here to avoid Fungals. He will pick off a couple of Overlords in the process, but losing a Mutalisk as well for the cost of, well, Overlords. And Fungals going down, he will lose these last couple Mutalisks. But huge engage coming here at the third location. Roach versus Roach. But again, Coolman has the Infestors. The Fungal is going to help with that AoE damage. And he's got the +1 upgrade. Infestors being thrown down. And I think Rai should have... Oh, no. Might actually clean this up. He's got a great concave. But Coolman finally starting to chase this back. Rai's walking away from those Infested Terran. The smart choice. The very smart choice.
Rise is just continuing to just go crazy, crazy roaches, building more and more and more of them. And with good control and constantly splitting them up, he might be able to make it work. We saw him do some pretty decent dodging, only letting the fungal growths hit a couple of units
Oh my
at a
goodness,
time.
Senex. I did not catch this. We have 63 workers to the 48 of Rise. Cool man,
Yeah, that lead has
economically
just been
speaking.
expanding.
Yeah, I mean, this third base for Rise hasn't really been started. Some Roaches, though, walking right into the main, picking off a Queen on the way. Oh, and he's not doing anything with him yet. Move him, move him, move him. The
Is able to get the queen. Actually, picking off the Roach Warren would be absolutely huge. That would make
This
it
is going to
so hard to
devastate
deal with
Coolman.
constant Roach pressure.
And meanwhile, we've got a hit coming into the third, and all the Roaches have been pulled to deal with the main. There's a fungal being thrown down, but it's not going to be enough. This third base will fall, and all of a sudden, you know, the second we start speaking ill of Rise, he turns the game around in an instant. Some nice fungal's going to hold these Roaches, will clean them up, but again, Coolman can't reproduce right now. And that third base down, that worker lead, I mean, it's been nice, but not going to do him any good without that third base up.
Well, the thing that Rise needs to be worried about right now is a counterattack, and that really all he did there was even the game out. He has his third base up and running, but he hasn't been able to utilize it all that much. It's only just now getting some workers on it, and there's this huge army moving through the middle of the map, supported by 7 infestors as well. And when your opponent has 6, oh, actually now 6 infestors and Roach lead on you, you
losing some of these infestors, though, just to some little miscontrol, some poke. And one fun thing I want to point out, give a shout out to Young Homie in chat. AoE does not mean area of effect, it means a lot of explosions.
Right now, with that little bit of kind of harassment going on, picking off those infestors, Rise has been able to force Coolman back into his base, so it looks like he was able to get away with running in and doing that snipe, even though he lost a lot of his army for it.
And right now, this is the problem. Okay, Coleman's had an advantage for so long. Look at the supply right now. He's got Hydros down on the way, but he's sitting at home. He needs to take advantage of this. There's no pathogen glands finished for Rise. There's +2 not even completed. He has +1 armor. He has 2 upgrades entirely over his opponent, but he's sitting at home. He needs to make something happen.
Yeah, I would really like to see an attempt
Look
at
at these
taking this fourth
infestors.
base.
They have so much energy. Yeah, take a 4th base, shut down your opponent's 3rd, anything but sit at home. And, I mean, this is what we were talking about earlier. Rise is going to catch up the longer Coolman waits.
Right now, Coolman did have that base finish up for him, so going to be feeling at least pretty decent. Right now, also, Rise didn't use the opportunity to try to do any sort of droning, as, I mean, even with all of the damage that he took, that base being sniped, several workers being killed at the same time, only just now, as that most recent wave of drones finishes, do we see the Coolman go to a worker deficit.
Look at the army supply, though, right now. I mean, the worker count's even, okay, cool, whatever. We have 136 to 97, defender's advantage aside. Coolman waiting for Hydralisks is not the best choice, because, quite frankly, Roaches will walk over Hydralisks if there's not enough to tank for them.
And both these guys taking their fourth bases at pretty close to the same time, and so now we're in almost the opposite situation. The longer that the Coolman waits, the better it's going to be for Rise.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to poke some overlords. We do have Roaches coming into the 3rd. There's a couple spines, but, I mean, not a lot to defend a Hydralisk under some reigning overlords.
Oh, in fact, he just walks him right by after he gets the Queen snipe.
Oh, and there's no continue doing damage. This is the same thing that happened to Coolman earlier. He's going to get lost in the main, and he's pulling back to deal with this. Smart choice, but I would like to see him finally go on the aggressive at some point this game, Senex.
And now just picking off even more workers and
Not
trying to expand that lead.
Wow. But I mean, here's the thing. Coolman's had some of the coolest tactics we've seen. As you said, we had the Changeling drop to pop a Baneling. We've had Roaches picked off here. That we had earlier Infestors pick off those Mutalisks. But this whole time, Coolman is just waiting. He's max supply. I want him to move out across the map so badly. I am like channeling psychic chi energy to him right now. Like, please attack, a move, anything.
He might be about to do it for you. He also has a small upgrade lead right now with his 1 armor being done. His opponent's not quite finished yet. Rise hasn't maxed out yet, and there's actually a very large bank for the Coolman. That could be critical in the moments to come. He could lose his whole army and remax most of it.
Rise is supply blocked right now. This is the best opportunity that Coolman could have. Take out that 4th base, damn you. I beg you.
Right now he's doing like the little marine detachment with big siege tanks in the back, just sending a couple
but Rise
of units
is gonna buy time.
That base.
Look at this. Zergling's coming down. There's nothing at home because he's supplied, well, not blocked, but maxed out. Coolman really just sitting here. I want him to attack. He's going to lose the 4th. He's going to lose his 3rd. Trade with your opponent.
Lose the Roach Warren.
Again, losing that Roach Warren that was placed down here in the middle of the map, guys, and going right into the main with these Zerglings. and coming home. And Coolman, please don't go home. Please attack. I beg you. But
Oh
no.
man. Oh, this is a huge mistake. This is so much unanswered damage. I mean, all that Coolman got out of that attack was that he managed to snipe a fourth base, which basically wasn't being used. I think he got like 2 drones out of it as well. And right now, all of these Zerglings have been running around killing workers, sniping the fourth base, killed multiple queens. Like, you need to at least make your opponent pay for that a little bit.
Yeah, and I really, I'd love to know what's going through Coolman's head right now. Like, does he, maybe he's not aware just how far ahead he's been or at how many different points. But all Rise has had to do, guys, look, that was 24 supply invested in Zerglings. That saved his base, it saved his bacon, it brought Coolman home. And, these investors, there's so many of them, but they're just not doing anything, Senex.
Yeah, I can understand, to give a bit of credit to the cool man, I can understand his hesitance to attack up that ramp, because that is basically fungal central. If they get a decent, your opponent, I mean, gets a decent concave at the top of that, with spine crawlers and infestors and roaches, it can just be so difficult to try to make it up there. But I still feel like he needed to try
Ooh,
to harass the natural,
and
get
two
him to make
fungals coming
something.
down on all of Coolman's army before the engage even starts. And this is going to suck, because now his army's already behind going into this. But also getting a nice fungal on his opponent. If he gets a couple more, he can actually just chain these roaches to death if he wants.
Wow, yeah, all of those roaches might die with literally nothing,
Wow, and
nothing to say
Infestator's coming
about
over
it.
the wall. Will clean up those roaches, 2 fungals, and this is the cue to push Cool Man, take Rise down, bring SCA back into this. The supply counts are even, but Rise does have the defender's advantage, but there's so many eggs down here, Senex. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. And right now, all of those infestors were burrowing underneath and got hit by the fungals. I do think, though, that Rise is going to fall back, so he's not quite able to capitalize on that
Yeah,
opportunity.
he's waiting for
Losing the
those
fourth
30
base
roaches.
again.
As soon as those 30 roaches pop, he will be in a good position, but again, he's down on upgrades.
Huge fungals on all of these burrowed infestors, and a ton of them gonna pop. A nice
Yeah,
pickup for Rise
he
right
threw
there.
out Infested Terrans knowing that they were going to go down, but I mean, you can't lose Infestors like that. That's just devastating. Even Fungal's going down on the Infested Terrans, and this is going to push Coolman back. And Coolman has not resaturated his fourth base. He did take out Rise's fourth, though. So technically still ahead. He just has to not get caught. Oh, some roaches pushing in here.
Rise just so good with the run-bys the moment that he sees his opponents out of position, trying to get in and take out that hatchery, but the reinforcements are rallied there. I do think, though, Rise is I don't know, kind of, he smells blood in the water, wants to make something happen.
And I know this will just give me some bad press, but to make a League of Legends reference, guys, anyone knows who Zillion is? Rise is basically Zillion. He is the master of buying himself time. Look at this. Again, these roaches are going to just go right into the main, picking off an Infestor immediately, and that Roach Warren a third time, Senex. I have never seen 3 roaches go down in the same game to the exact same sort of mismap control, I guess.
Oh man, and even getting several of these infestors as well. I think 2 of them going down, and even running to the corner in order to burrow. Probably burrow. He's
Ooh.
getting some damage in on the infestation pit first.
Yeah, and I'm really shocked. Cool, man. I mean, the Mutalisks have been down for a while. Let's see some Overlords here, because this is the 3rd time you've been caught off guard by a run-by. You know, put an Overlord up here, even if it's just using Larva that once you're max. I mean, have that scouting information out. You need that.
Coleman is doing a good job, though, of trying to, if not in terms of army positioning, in terms of unit composition and particularly upgrades, capitalize on the advantage that he has. As right now, he's
Yeah.
incorporating huge numbers of Hydralisks in, and so long as you have the units to tank for them, it's much better to have a Hydralisk dealing its DPS than to have a Roach.
Yeah, but
Also,
the
he's
catch
getting the level 3
is...
missile attacks as well, and his opponent is still only on 2-1 while he's at 2-2.
But Senex, look at the unit counting station. I mean, there are 29 roaches for these 22 Hydralisks. If those roaches go down, Fungals, a Bailing or 2, I mean, Hydralisks are squishy freaking units.
They are very squishy. I don't know. I do think it's a nice right now ratio for him to have. One thing he does need to be
Ooh.
incredibly careful of, though, is
Look at
these
the fourth
18
base.
infestors of his opponent.
Look at the 4th base of Coolman. Lost
Ooh,
all those
nice
workers.
little bomb.
Oh, actually burned most of them. Very nice. Good save. Those infestors aren't going to get out and get home. Did Rise scout that? Yeah, he sees the 5th base.
He did see the 5th base attempt, and I mean, this harassment and constantly forcing all of these units to come back home is so good out of Rise, and just really unfortunate from Coolman. I mean, ultimately, he gained nothing by sending all of those units back. He got to unburrow his drones a little bit faster. He had a big opportunity to try to do something with those units, but unfortunately decided to pull them all home.
Yeah, in this game, I mean, it's been the battle of the Roach Warren slash the 4th bases. I mean, there's been nothing else happening. I mean, Coolman I'd like to see a contingent. No, actually, can't even send like a contingency of roaches off because we got like 6 spine crawlers guarding the entrance to the main, guarding these expensive tech structures. And Coolman, maybe in the future we'll learn to adapt that a little bit.
Well, it looks like Coolman is trying to break the stalemate finally. He's getting a Spire, and I definitely don't think it's going to be for Mutalisk moving into the Broodlord tech probably real soon. Now, he does have his Hive already up, and
But
he'll need to vent some supply before he can
the
do that, but if he
problem,
can get the Broodlords on the field, that will change things.
Senex, let's look at this though. I mean, just he's Coolman's waited so long. His opponent didn't have infestors when he had infestors. Okay, now it evened out. He had Hydras over his opponent. Now Rise has Hydras. He's losing every advantage he has this game just due to the waiting game. The only thing he's gonna have to go for is upgrades, but even that will even out over time.
Oh man, and even an additional piece of harassment moving in, and right now if Rise is paying attention, he will have scouted that Greater Spire.
And I'm
Going
not.
right for the Infestation Pit too. It's going to go down. I don't think that these roaches can save it
There's
in
no
time.
queens
They
to
can't.
transfuse. And oh, that's devastating. But again, that Greater Spire on the way. He's gonna lose this fourth base, or sorry, the fifth base most likely.
Rise building a second Spire, which is obviously just for the upgrades and not because he forgot that he had built one earlier on in the game, but is snagging a hive of his own so that he can kind of even out when we might be seeing kind of the ultra late game Zerg versus
Oh.
Zerg coming up.
Yeah, Koopman picking off several roaches of his own so he can get those corruptors out. But again, a large Hydra army will not beat out a large Roach army. You have to have roaches to tank for these Hydras.
Yeah, it is kind of an unfortunate situation. He's invested
Oh,
so
and
much
again,
in
look,
Hydras and
Senex.
can't do anything with them. And right now, yeah,
This
there
is
it
what,
is,
the
all
seventh
harassment.
time?
And wow, actually, if this goes down, this is going to be a nice, once again, a very nice pickup. There's only 4 Broodlords being made right now, and that can definitely be handled just by infested Terrans and
Oh,
Hydras.
and it goes down, and that's like 10 minutes he's gonna have to spend trying to get that back up. And again, this
And
is
a
that
lot
thing
of
where
money, too. Those are
if
not
he
cheap
would
structures.
just if he would spend 5 workers, make 5 spine crawlers, 6 spine crawlers, whatever, none of this would happen. You have to weigh out the fact that this has happened 7 times now, that it would be worth it. And he even gives away the fact that the Broodlords were already on the field. But Rise just picking away at Coolman, and I can't help but wonder
And
if
even,
Coolman.
check it out here, at the bottom right-hand corner, another small detachment of Roaches have already picked off that base.
Yeah, I can't foreseeably see Coolman winning this game if he keeps playing like this. Waiting for the death ball is, ironically enough, killing him.
Well, he does have his Broodlords out, but right now there are 6 Corruptors on their way for Rise, and if he just doesn't turn these
But look,
into
Senex again.
Broodlords of his own...
The exact same thing's about to happen with the main and the natural. Coolman just needs to go for broke. Don't come home. Don't defend this. Lose your base. Who freaking cares at this point? Because you've lost if you respond to this.
And I
He
mean,
is
he's
turning
pulling
around.
everything back to deal with it as well. Oh, it's
I
so
am-
unfortunate to watch. And he's just gonna go and try to snipe off the Hydralisk Den as well, just destroying all the production structures of his opponent.
And I feel, truthfully, I mean, this is not to speak ill of Coolman, but this game has gone on, I'd say, almost 15 to 20 minutes longer than it should have.
Like, Coolman had a very severe advantage earlier on and could have committed and at least crippled or killed Rise, almost certainly. But right now, he's continuing to rebuild these tech structures, Roach Roarin and Hydralisk Den being rebuilt for what, the 5th and
Look
2nd
at
time?
this
I believe?
spine wall. He is not going to be pushing up into here anytime soon.
Well, there are the 6 Broodlords, which are going to need to be dealt with somehow, but I really feel like it just gigantic
Ooh.
Infested Terran Bomb might be enough
Yeah,
for it.
Infested Terrans come underneath the Broodlords for that support. And this is what he needs to do. At least he's doing this correctly, where he's not just moving in. Corruptors are out on the field, though, and there's no queens up with this to transfuse these Broodlords, so this is actually pretty precarious.
Yeah, this is a pretty solid push actually coming out of Coolman. I think that one Broodlord has gone down. Yeah, the Chain Fungals being able to take it out. Right now, these Spine Crawlers are slowly going down, but really all that they need to do is buy time, and it looks like that is exactly what they have done.
And again, that's just Rise. He's so masterful at doing this.
Oh, and there it is, another Broodlord going down, and this is
And now Rise has his
almost
own
a replaceable
Broodlords.
unit.
Rise has his own Broodlords, but he has Corruptors, something that Coolman does not have the luxury of. I would love to see him send off 3 Infestors to the main, distract Rise, do something, anything to get himself back into this game. But right now, I will tell you, Senex, my money is on Rise, and I say Coolman is just dead in the water.
Well, he is trying to rebuild, but it's right now Strangely enough, going for the fire attack level 1 instead of trying to get out the Greater Spire. Okay, yeah, there it is. He cancels it and gets out the Greater Spire now, but I mean, he had the advantage of having earlier Broodlords. His opponent has already surpassed him in that. He has 3 Broodlords out right now and is just looking to vent some supply, sending a large group of Zerglings to go and check on that 5th base. There's nothing there
He's
even
going
for
to be
them to
happy.
harass, though.
Yeah, he's going to be happy to see that there's nothing there. I mean, the Zerglings are going to get picked off, sure, but they did what they needed to do, and if there was a base there, it would have been taken out. And Coolman, I mean, look at this. He's being drawn out of position by something so insignificant as losing extractors when you have no base there.
Yeah, I really feel like right now this is just kind of the psychology of the players really coming into play. Rise is so cool and calm in dealing with all of these different pokes and harassments and multitasking, and I think we're kind of seeing Coolman really starting to struggle to deal with handling all of these different pressures. Now, I do like this Roach contingent that he currently has moving up. If he could send that to the upper left-hand corner, and it looks like that is where it's rallied, it's kind of the right instinct, but Rise is all over that. He knows that's a good decision from his opponent, so he's already prepared to receive it.
Yeah, tons of spine crawlers down. Not going to be able to get in and do any real damage. And there's that upgrade window finally going out the door. I mean, we've got +3 on the way for Rise, so that advantage is gone. The only thing the Coolman will have going for him is the extra +1 armor. But again, the longer he waits, Rise will just research it. And Rise actually even has melee attacks and the flyer attacks on the way, so he's going to have his Broodlords be that much more effective.
Like, I'm running out of things to say in this game. Both these guys are just waiting so long to try and do anything. Coolman is resecuring this 5th base. His opponent is trying to take a 5th base in this upper left-hand corner, but I mean, you want to talk about easily harassable bases. This is practically within spitting distance of Rise's own 4th, and so he can just send out like 15 Zerglings and cancel, or just kill it off almost immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about the psychology of the players. I mean, the way I feel the way this game has gone, without any knowing any of the facts, Coolman was ahead. Rise did the right choice by not attacking, not doing anything too volatile, little contingencies here and there, like Coolman's trying to do now. But they were effective because Coolman wasn't ready for them, or he wasn't prepared, or would draw his army out of position. And because of every single time that happened, and I'd love to go through the replay and count this. I think there was like almost 13 different accounts where run-bys were happening. That set Coolman behind. And that's what you need to bring yourself back into games like this, when you know you're behind. And all these Corruptors getting fungled on top of the Hydras. And without the Corruptor army, the Broodlords are left unsupported, getting fungling, and oh my goodness, might actually fall to these. Lots of fungals going down on those Hydras, though. I think both players are going to lose their heavy-duty units right now because there's nothing to tank for them. But a flank of Hydras coming in for Coolman. But look at all these infested Terrans. Holy crap, how many infested Terrans are on the field right now? Like 25 each plus and rising.
Now, this is actually going really, really well for Coolman. All of these Hydralisks not being answered at all by Rise. Rise forced to fall back after having lost almost all of his Broodlords. And, I mean, that just goes to show when you have two almost identical armies clashing, the better position wins. And Coolman able to kill almost all of his opponent's anti-air and his own mostly untouched.
Looking at the larva right now, too, Rise is incredibly starved as far as creating units goes. He's kind of given up on injects or hasn't been paying attention to his queens, and he doesn't have like that bank of 40 larvae that you need to respond to something like this.
Yeah, he just has to remax. He doesn't have time to try to go for a really endgame army. He just has to remax on whatever he can. Just massive infested Terran bombing in the middle of the map. I mean,
and Coolman, I mean, he's finally going to win this game. And I say finally because I mean it's taken this long. Rise is trying to hold this off as best he can. He's got fungals on these Broodlords, but they're just so strong. And with the loss of these infestors, okay, he is finally pulling those back. You can't lose these infestors. If you want any hope to get back into this, you need those fungals.
I think that hope is unfortunately pretty much over for Rise right now, as he is losing his 4th base. There's actually some good harassment going on at the 5th as well, just these 2 Roaches that had stayed burrowed, continuing to attack behind that mineral line, and Rise almost 100 supply down right now, his opponent with the gigantic Broodlord Death Ball.
And our
I
comment,
think this is over.
Our comment from chat is the reason Coolman's been taking this so slow and so cool and laid back is because he is saving money for next game, trying to invest in the future.
With 6.2k currently in the bank for him. Can invest in his kids' college, maybe get them a car when they move out of the house.
Well, Coolman definitely pushing ahead, guys. There's no production going on, so I'm just going to leave it on units lost so you can see these numbers rising. But Rise He's got a little contingency. He's trying to take out this base. He's got more infested Terrans come down, but there's nothing here for him to snipe. As all the big stuff, I mean, not going to really matter at this point. There's no hope for a base trade. 200 supply to 100 really says it all, Senex.
This, like, okay, for a second it looked like Coolman was actually going to send everything back just to deal with this.
I know, I was
infested
looking at that.
bomb,
I
and
was so
going
ready to
scream. But no,
just
he's
rage.
actually just going to leave it in the middle of the map where it can really watch out over this very strange-looking structure as he moves to finally take out the last mining base for Complextiy Rise.
The best way I can describe this game is like it was so laid back and so passive. Coolman really playing like Jackie Chan in a furniture factory against Rise.
What?
If you've seen any Jackie Chan movie, you know what I'm talking
Dude,
about.
I've seen lots of Jackie Chan movies, but
Dude,
Jackie Chan
he uses everything,
back.
everything and anything, man. No, he
That's
doesn't
true.
fight, and then like as soon as he fights, he finds like chairs and ladders and throws everything he can at his opponents. And
the only things we haven't seen in this game are Ultralisks.
Wow,
and what else haven't we seen?
Senex. Let's talk about something here that's happening for Coolman. We've gotten lost in the fact that he pulled ahead, but right now he is turtling up around one singular base, and I don't see why he's doing this because his opponent has no mining, he has no production, and quite frankly, by doing this, he's kind of giving the game away.
He has mining. Take a look at this. Look at like the Oregon Trail of drones moving out. Pretty soon they'll get to his natural, and then they'll be able to head all the way to the northwest again, back to Oregon, to build enough or to get enough resources to build a nice little log hatchery that they can raise a family in.
Yeah, and with the loss of these last couple units, I mean, this is the last time a Coolman will be brought back home, I hope. But of course, you know, apparently that doesn't mean anything to this guy. He will defend his young, his babies to the end.
I mean, there's still Zerglings running around. I mean, if these pull his army out of position again, I'm just gonna laugh.
As soon as Rise, I think as soon as Rise sees the amount of spine crawlers at this last base, he's gonna GG out. He actually sees it. He knows it's here. He's got all the changelings here. Actually, wow.
Using a fungal growth to take them out. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, the roaches, the drones coming down here, and I don't know how Coolman won this game, but he did. So congratulations to SCA. As they do take Rise out, so Complextiy will be forced to pick another player. We'll see who they choose out to fight this Zerg menace. And if any of the Complextiy guys have been watching this cast, you know, okay, you know what? You can bait Coolman really easily.
I know, that's actually really the scary thing here.
Oh, actually, look at this.
Like,
Infestor Army versus Infestor Army, both burrowed, but there's an Overseer here for Rise. But again, I don't know that it's going to really matter, but it's still just...
So I have to wonder if this is a strategy from Rise. We saw that a lot of the Complextiy guys were busy with stuff a little while ago. They were like playing in other games and
maybe he's buying time. Yeah,
is he buying time? Is he like shouting at one of the other guys in the Complextiy house? Like, dude,
like,
you seriously need to leave that game? Like, no, wait, just 10 more minutes. I'm playing Mac. Like,
just lift up your hatchery and float it to the corner of the map, please. Well, I don't know. That could be the case. Might not be. It could just be Rise not wanting to go out. I mean, there's a certain level of pride associated with all these StarCraft players.
He has a very small chance of winning, but I mean, look at the number of high-energy infestors that he has. If he mass-infested Terran bombs this, I think that the Spine Crawlers will be enough to win out, but it's worth a shot. I mean, what are you going to do, lose?
Actually, yeah, oh my goodness, just Senex, looking at that, technically, if Rise makes his move soon, there'll be no buildings left for Coolman. Yeah, his Hydras have cleaned everything out. The Broodlings are going to town on what? No, they're exploded now. This is the last standing base of Coolman, and if Rise can hold out just a little bit longer at home, I mean, he doesn't need to have much. He just needs to take out the space. And there's the infested Terrans, the bombs coming out, hundreds of Terrans going down.
Oh no, this is unfortunate. If he'd done the right-click spam, all of those would have spawned out at once, and this would be going a lot better for him. But
Rise trying to get in here, but Coolman coming home again. Trying to do what damage he can, but this is the last building. These are the last few buildings of Coolman, and are we going to see Rise win this? No, not without the focus fire.
Building in the upper left-hand corner, but there is this kind of mobile strike force continuing to run around on the bottom right for Rise. Like,
that's not going to happen because the hatchery was not being focus fired. He was shooting the Hydralisk with those infested Terrans.
There we go. The GG well played for Rise. It looks like QXE finished whatever game he was in. No, I'm just kidding. But
what a ridiculous